So last but not least, we have Manganese, ASX code EMN. So the company is producing high purity manganese for the EV and battery industry, and here to tell us more is Chairman and Director Rick Anton. Thank you.
So lucky last. I don't know whether there's last mover advantage. I think I'm about to find out. So Manganese, we're ASX, TSX listed, and we're developing a high purity manganese project in central Czech Republic, about 90 kilometres west of Prague. I think it's probably useful first to look at high purity manganese. What is it? Where's the market? Why you should be interested in it. Manganese and high purity manganese is a critical mineral. It's central to the current generation and in fact the next generation of batteries. There's a bit of an alphabet soup out there of different battery types. All of them to a greater or lesser extent, except maybe one, utilise high purity manganese. Why is that? Because it's cheaper, it's safer, and it actually makes the batteries last a bit longer. So you've got the likes of Ford and GM in the States that are putting a lot of money into lithium manganese rich batteries. You've got a moving away from LFP, which is a technology which has come to dominate the Chinese battery market, into LFMP, again, because a small amount of adding manganese to the LFP significantly improves the performance of those batteries. The commodity, it's not a large commodity. There's about 200,000 tonnes a year produced. Interestingly enough, and this is sort of where the opportunity for Manganese comes about, 95% of that comes out of China. There's a very, very small production comes out of Europe and South Africa, but the vast majority of this, which is a little bit in keeping with most of the battery supply chain story, is a Chinese story. Now that 200,000 tonnes a year, the demand is forecast to double over the next 4 to 5 years and double again over the next 3 to 4 years out of that. Outside of China, there is no way that the projects that are out there, even if, and there's a couple of which are well known, such as Element 25 and Guyana, even if those projects come on and our project comes on, there is still going to be a significant deficit in supply. Just turning to the Chelvisty project, which is a fully permitted development project 90 kilometres west of Prague. It is effectively a tailings retreatment. There is a tailings there, 25-year project life, running 7% manganese. So as far as you can ever have a project that has zero mining risk, this has very, very little mining risk. The tailings are homogeneous, they're all the same size, they're all the same grade, and they sit next to the proposed development plant site. The tailings are in our project, the tailings will be beneficiated. They'll go through an electro-winning process to produce high purity manganese metal. After that, they'll move into purification and crystallisation to produce the high purity manganese sulfate monohydrate, which is currently the core demand within those manganese-rich batteries. The company has, in 2022, completed a detailed feasibility study. It also, and perhaps more importantly, on top of that feasibility study, built a significantly sized demonstration plant which proved the concept, proved the technology, ran continuously, and in fact delivered greater performance than the feasibility study had originally contemplated. So the project also has significant EU and Czech Republic support. It's a strategic project as designated under the Critical Minerals Act, and we're working very hard to produce all those warm inner feelings that we have about being a critical mineral project into actual monetary and tax support from both the Czech Republic government and also from the EU. The EU, I had the fortune or misfortune to spend 3 days in Brussels a couple of weeks ago. The EU knows that they have to do something about their supply chains. They have 3 battery manufacturers that with the failure of Northvolt, are now pretty much on their last legs, and they know that unless they support those battery manufacturers, they're just ceding the whole of that industry to the Chinese. They also know that they have to have a supply chain that isn't reliant on all of the ingredients and all of the components of the supply chain coming out of China. So they're actively looking at how they boost the battery sector and how they boost the upstream sector. What are we doing at the moment? Well, we're taking that 2022 study and we're taking the results of the demonstration plant, which we've only just ceased operating, and we're optimising the design. We think there's some quite low-hanging fruit in there in terms of CapEx and OpEx improvements. Now, we're not in a position to be announcing numbers about what that looks like, but we will be publishing the results of those studies early next year. We are embarking on and have already started the process of finding the appropriate strategic partner, which will help us take us through to an FID, hopefully in 18 months as we optimise that project. But we're also continuing. We already have a number of parties on the books as strategic offtake partners, and we're continuing with that work at the moment to increase the percentage of our potential product. One of the important things about the optimisation of this plant is that there have been developments. Battery technology is a constantly evolving science, and there's been developments about the specific type of manganese that goes in. It was just the sulphate. Then there's now manganese carbonate, which is being used. We're making sure that this plant can actually go 2 or 3 different directions. It all comes out of the high purity metal. You produce the metal and then give yourself the optionality of producing 2 or 3 different feedstocks to meet the particular battery demands of your precursor or your battery guys. So that's in a nutshell where we have first mover advantage. I don't think the other people the other companies that are in this game haven't got as far as us in terms of having done the hard work with a demonstration plant and showing that our technology works. So we're fairly uniquely positioned. We're in a critical mineral that's being supported by the EU and potentially by the States, and we'll be selling it into a market that's rapidly going into deficit. So thank you everybody for hanging in there, and thank you, Jane, for organising the event.